Right then, Andy Jaye on duty for Adopted Geordies alongside my taxi driver, Rob Lee. Come on!
Uber driver. Driver. Don't do this to many people.
The big news
I'll make an exception.
We are here to collect today's guest because his Uber driver wasn't happy. So we are bringing the ultimate Uber driver, former England legend, former Newcastle captain, Rob Lee, who is incidentally the big news. Rob, should we tell him now? Rob now is the permanent co-host of the Adopted Geordies. Come on!
Hi, Adopted Geordies.
We saw how much you loved it and we thought, we've got to do it. Rob is in.
Wow, how are they going to get all this gear I've just seen?
Yeah. So the man we're looking to collect right now is James Bay, and he doesn't know that it's us waiting for him.
Let's go.
Look, James is loading up Rob's car.
Me and Rob are going to do a gig.
Yeah, how are you on harmonica, Rob? Any good? Do you need a harmonica player, James? Yeah.
Still don't have one. Probably that's fine with me.
Awesome. We are in the car with the greatest Uber driver you will ever meet. England legend, Newcastle captain, Rob Lee in the car, collecting James Bay, who's in the back.
We made it.
Look at this.
We'll make it work one way or another.
The things we do to deliver an Adopted Geordie show for you.
I want a 5-star rating for this.
So we are heading to St James's Park where we've got a studio ready and waiting for us. And we're going to have some fun, aren't we?
We're going to have a good time.
We will.
It's going to be great. Well then, we have had quite the morning so far, haven't we, Rob? We're coming to you from St James's Park. Mr. Rob Lee, turned driver, to collect our very special guest. He's a legend and we're delighted to have him here. It's James Bay! Way! There is proper applause.
There's not many people I'd Uber for, but James Bay's one of them.
Oh, what an honour! Literally an honour. I did not get the time right, and I was definitely late. And the original Uber driver obviously didn't want to wait for me, but you can always rely on Rob.
It was, do you know what? It was one of the most remarkable moments in the room because I think Rob overheard the grief I was getting from the Uber driver and just said, "I'll go and get him." And you don't get that from an ex-England international.
Not often, no, but
we
yeah,
did.
don't often get a chance to pick up pop stars.
But we didn't tell you it was Rob coming. Was it a surprise when
Absolutely,
he got out of the car?
it was a surprise. I just saw the back of this car. I thought, wow, it's quite a nice looking Uber. It's a decent bit of kit, and then the driver was Rob Lee. So I can only hope it's because my sort of black and white colours shone.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, also people are always asking former players, "What do you do when you retire?" And
there you go.
the answer is there.
I could do this.
Yeah, you've got the knowledge around Newcastle.
Around Newcastle, ex-players picking people up. It's a business there, isn't it?
Can you
Very
imagine?
appreciated.
It'd be amazing. James, first and foremost, thank you for being here. You are playing in Newcastle tonight. You're currently on tour, so it's brilliant that you found the time to talk to us because I know that being on tour is hectic and exhausting and
But
all of those
any
things.
excuse to be in this building, absolutely. So and obviously, thank you for having me because I'm very happy to at any time. As Chris and the guys on my team will tell you, I'm happy to talk about the toon anytime.
Well, this is what we love because, of course, the show is called Adopted Geordies and it is for people like us who love the club but don't have a Geordie accent.
No.
So let's get into that and we will talk music, I promise.
Sure, no. I think I'd rather talk about the toon.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about why the toon for you because you don't sound like a Geordie to me and you weren't born down here, up here even.
No, I have no sort of connections in that way to the northeast, to Newcastle. I grew up in a house that didn't love football. But me and my brother Alex, he's only about 18 months older than me, and so we grew up very close. And it's just as kids in the 90s, I think most kids, football was very exciting. But my mum and dad weren't football fans, and so at school in the sort of mid 90s, Alan Shearer was the absolute talk of the football pitch at school. I sort of turned to my dad, I don't know, one weekend, and I said, "Who does Alan Shearer play for?" And literally in the paper, he had just signed for Newcastle. So my dad said, "Well, he plays for this team, Newcastle." I said, I looked at my brother who agreed. My brother was the same. We said, "That's us. That's our team." Then there's some teams from where I'm from. Well, I feel like I shouldn't name their names, but they've been in the Prem, but it was just all about Shearer and Newcastle. And then sort of in the grand scheme of things, 5 minutes later, we were both just obsessed with the squad and the evolving squad and the evolving managers and the state of the team. Because of course, in the 90s, we were good.
We were good in those days, weren't we? Yeah, we were good.
Hey, we're in a place now, and I'm not mad about it. But it was a really exciting time as you were part of it. As you know, to support and follow Newcastle. And I'm sure, what was it like being in that team? Because I've been up here and I've watched Newcastle, and these fans are. And by the way, I see a lot of games away. I see a lot of the London games. I don't get to too many others, and I don't get up to St James's enough. So I know all about our away fans, and they are wild. I'm a fan of our away fans.
Yeah.
But when you coming up here in the 90s and playing every other
Well,
weekend,
even as you say, the away fans. My first away game was against Peterborough away.
right? Wow.
We're just getting promotion, and I'd never seen anything like it. We were driving the coach through Peterborough, and the whole of Peterborough was just black and white.
Black and
it was
white, yeah.
completely black and white, and that's my first. These fans are mad.
But home games must have been wild.
Home games, yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, I was lucky enough. We always did pretty well all the years I was here.
Yeah.
Bar a couple of rude Hullet years, but
When you weren't in the team, Robert.
exactly, yeah. When that guy was in charge, but
That's another way.
so
they
the
did
fans were just amazing, and still are. I mean, they're just amazing
Yeah.
fans. But I'm like you. I look at the team now, and I think the entertainers team is really good, but
There's something
we've got a
happening
decent
here.
team now.
There's-
Yeah,
there's-
we've got a good team now.
There's something happening, and you know, I feel like in the time that I've known it, you could always rely on Newcastle's fans away or at home to bring that fantastic sort of chaos when you need noise, and you know, when you just need, even in sort of the basic ways, when you need that hysteria. Newcastle fans have always been unbelievable, but there's a focus to them now. Eddie's doing really good things. He's been here for a minute now. We've generally been doing better than we have been for a long time, and he's had a few dips, and everybody's just they're invested. Like, there's so much reason since Mike Ashley went and everything. There's so much more reason to sort of invest in what's happening on the pitch and between the manager and the team. I feel
The club's connected again. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and obviously, I say it sort of gently and tentatively, and I sort of touch wood, but more than we have been for a long time, it feels like something's happening. We're going somewhere. You know, Eddie's first season and finishing fourth and getting into the Champions League, like, we hope we're going towards the Champions League all the time, of course, and it might not be that way every season, but still there is this sense, isn't there, that like something's really happening. Signing Isak, signing loads of great Tonali.
I think the problem is, you know what Geordies are like. It's been ever since I was there in the 90s. They get hysterical when you start doing well, and all of a sudden their expectations go through the roof. So we finished in the Champions League, and everyone expects, we'll do it again next year. But actually, probably we finished Champions League probably a season or two too early.
I'd say, and Eddie was really good for saying this is way more than we expected,
Yeah.
and I really applaud him in a way for that rationality, and because he's such a voice to the fans, the whole club, everybody, as a manager sort of should be. And it seemed to help the players who were right to be very excited. We're going into the Champions League, but it sort of helped the whole, everybody kind of go, ooh, okay, well, we'll see how we do. But
It's a bonus.
It was a great bonus, and I think even now any Europe would be a wonderful sort of bonus and an incentive to players and everything. But even if it isn't quite that in these earlier years for this sort of takeover and Eddie, who I hope stays. We're doing some things, and it's
we've been to Wembley, and we could go Wembley again.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It was
We're
good
recording
question.
this just before
We are.
We
the
are.
second leg.
I'm
of
gonna.
the Arsenal.
And we got a lead. So
I'll say we got a lead, and I'll say, can I just sort of small round of applause for the handful of players that were coming to my show tonight, and very respectfully, each of them has texted me and said, "Mate, it's a really big game tomorrow." They'd all said yes, and then I texted them again saying, you still fancy it? And they were like, "Yeah, tomorrow's actually quite important." It was amazing. Tomorrow's actually quite important. I think we've all got to have it wouldn't be a good look, and they're absolutely right. So, do I think I went to Wembley? Was it at Wembley? Where did we? The Carabao Cup final was
2 years ago.
2 years ago,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
absolutely. Yeah.
For some reason, because it was against Man United,
We turned it black and white, but it
we
wasn't
turned it
quite
black
to
and
be.
white. But I went there. It was a tough day. I think we're a lot better since then. The squad is sort of more mature, and sort of tuned into each other and all that sort of thing. So I think tomorrow I feel good. This second leg against Arsenal, and of course, we are right to be going for all the silverware, wherever it may be, to just be kind of, I say going for silverware, that sort of means finals and top ends of tables and stuff. I think we're in a place, where we should just be sort of throwing ourselves at all of it, because we have such sort of ability, and there is a bit of we're quite nicely sort of glued together as a squad. There's a few people on the bench who are really exciting subs, and sort of options in that way. I don't know about you guys. I feel quite confident.
I mean, it's an amazing time, but I'm not going to lie. I still get excited when we cross that 40-point mark.
Yeah,
'Cause I
same.
think, do you know what? Because
Same.
we're pre-conditioned from the Ashley years to be like, that's the thing, get to that and you're going to be all right. And sometimes
surely
we
we're
don't get
past
to
that now. aren't
Well,
we?
No,
what are we
I
on?
still-
Sorry,
I
are we
still
41
notice it.
points at the moment?
Yeah, we're over it now. I think
So-
we're not getting relegated.
But no, but this is it though. Like with that, yeah, surely we're past it. But like, we've had a couple of losses in the last few weeks that we I feel like we should be pushing 50. It's a shout. It's a shout.
Well, we should do. Yeah, we should.
You know.
Again, it's these expectations. I mean, everyone now, because we've done a good run, we're in a semi-final, and then we play against Bournemouth, and everyone expects us to beat Bournemouth, and they beat us, and then it's Fulham again.
again.
But these teams in mid-table, they're
We went
decent,
1-0
by
down
the
at Southampton.
way. No.
You know,
we
It
did.
was a
But then
good-
we pulled it back.
It was a good win, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's an exciting time. It's obviously not sort of straightforward, and I'm glad it's not. I don't know. I don't know how. You know, even the City takeover was like. It was a number of years in the making before they sort of got to really like big signings and sort of that sort of gelled together.
Well, the
style
way
of
we're
play.
doing it, we're
getting
not
closer to that.
We're not buying the league, are we? You know,
That's
it
good.
was very different for City. They came in without all these financial restrictions, and they were able to splash however many millions it was on Robinho
course,
and all those
yeah.
other things. And suddenly, you know, they've got a brand new squad.
Mm.
And I think, do you remember when the takeover happened? There was all this speculation. Oh, Neymar will come. They'll put in a bid for
Mbappe.
Mbappe. And all this. We haven't done it that way. We've played by the rules, and we've unearthed gems.
We really have. We really have. And even the way that Eddie has sort of taken someone like Joe Linton, who was bought before he came in, that is kind of remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With respect to Joe Linton, who's obviously at this point a really great player, but it was all a bit dead in the water.
Well, we interviewed him last week,
Right.
And I said to him, I said, who said you was a centre forward, and who gave you the number 9 at Newcastle?
Right.
You know, number 9 at Newcastle, it's an iconic number.
Intensely, yeah.
Yeah,
it
and
was
so
Steve
someone's
Bruce,
given
wasn't
that,
it?
and stuck him in midfield, or stuck him up front, and
Up
everyone
front,
thinks he's a centre forward. But he said, like, well, not really. I'm always been either a wide player or a midfielder.
It's funny. I was at Spurs when he scored his first goal.
Oh, that one! What a goal it was!
It
as
was,
well.
and bless
It's a great
Christian
finish.
Atsu who got the assist.
Oh,
but
yes,
like,
yeah.
it was a wonderful assist. But obviously it was exciting to see us go ahead. And we won that game 1-0, and it was our new striker. And yet there was a sort of uncertainty to his finish. ultimately.
Yeah.
And I know you'll be nervous when you first threw on goal, new club, all that stuff. But like, anyway, he's sort of amazing. Obviously, amazing since then. Whether he's scoring or not, by the way, the way he sort of exists in the middle,
Oh, he's
and
brilliant.
the way that he exists right now around sort of people who are a bit more sort of technicians like Bruno and Tonali, and like, you know, even in moments Willock and Longstaff, like Willock can play a ball sometimes, like, and Jolinton can do a lot of that stuff, but like he seems so much more sort of relaxed and confident, doesn't he? Like in the middle.
He's just he's big, powerful, can run, can't he? And he allows Bruno to get on with his, as you say, a bit more
Technical.
technical stuff. He makes all the passes, but you need
there's
somebody
no one else
like
like him in the Premier League.
Not really?
There is not another Joe Linton-like
that. No,
player.
I would hate to play against him.
Yeah.
He is huge.
It's the thing,
and
you come up against him,
aggressive.
you've not even got to the defence yet, and you've come up
Yeah.
against Joe Linton. Like, it's not ideal, is it? If you're a
I think
striker.
it would be fascinating to play a game against him.
Yeah.
I mean, I reckon he'd rub it off me in seconds. I mean,
Oh, God.
obviously, because I'm rubbish.
I'd rub
but,
off you in seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've got one knee.
I'm still going to get you down for Thursday night Dad's game. It's gonna. You've got to come now as well,
I'm
James.
up for it. I'll have a go.
We've had this car journey together where we've actually discovered that. Firstly, I'm convincing Rob to join my Thursday night Dad's.
We're starting a team.
And it turns out James is a really good player as well.
I'm up for it.
And you're up for it. Yeah, we want to play it out there, don't we?
Yeah, we
'Cause
do.
The pitch is just the other side of that wall.
Yeah, absolutely. God, it'd be nice to do that.
I mean, that's the dream realised, isn't it? It's sort of,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure. Part of this show is sort of explaining why and how you can fall in love with something that you don't necessarily have a natural ownership of.
No.
And it's like Sir Bobby said, you know, when you walk out there, you just fall in love.
It is the most infectious crowd and sports experience. I've not sort of been to all the sports experiences in existence, but like as far as football goes, I think you can really tell in fans of other clubs going, oh yeah, but Newcastle, you know, they really love it, don't they? Like, I feel that all the time when I'm sort of amongst mates who obviously support other clubs and stuff. There's this kind of allowance almost for like, oh, you kind of can't fault the Newcastle fans and the history and the culture and and the squad, 9 out of 10 times for being this unbelievable celebration of this incredible game.
Yeah, if you ask a load of ex-players, what's your favourite away ground? They'd always say St James's Park.
You do hear that, don't you?
Always say it, yeah. All the Man U players say it.
De Bruyne has said it recently as well.
It's just the atmosphere. It's
quite like that.
There you go.
It's brilliant.
It's amazing. By the way, anytime I've been up here for a game, of course, literally everything that happens as the players come out, and I've been at, you've been at smaller grounds and different grounds, bigger grounds, the cities, all of that stuff. It's just not as joyous. None of those other ones are as joyous as when you come here.
Yeah.
Well, you and I had a moment when Rob was parking his taxi. We popped out just to have a look at the pitch, and you have exactly the same experience as me. It's almost biblical, isn't it? When you see it, even empty and just randomly here without a match on, it's just
it's unbelievable. It really is. You kind of every game I've been to here, and I've only been to league games. Like I've not been to if we've done some sort of leg of a semi-final or whatever, those games that have a different sort of crucial nature to them. It feels like you're at the sort of FA Cup final or something, or like the World Cup final or something. You come and see a game here and everybody comes out. It's just it's just an incredible experience. Can I ask a really geeky thing that Alan Shearer told me when I was here the first time I came here with him? He said, look at the pitch. We were in the lovely seats, the lovely box, looking, and he said, from this end to this end, it's a 6 foot difference.
I know.
I think this is
huge,
sort of a funny little sort of unknown thing. And so you would always sort of choose a specific end.
Well, yeah, but I didn't realise.
I can't remember which
I didn't realise.
So half the game you're running uphill by 6 feet.
Yeah.
I just thought I was playing badly one half. Honestly, I was captain for a few years, and I didn't actually realise. And I think it was Bez actually said to me. He said, "Should we play up the slope?" I'm like, "What slope?" And I'm like, "There's a huge." It's actually, you look at it, there's a huge slope.
Well, I don't know. I'm very lucky to have been to a few different Premier League football grounds, and it's obviously like the sort of turf is like unbelievable. But then, you realise there's this hill.
It's huge.
and you can notice it. You do feel it as a player. I mean,
does the ball roll faster?
Well, I just thought I was. Yeah, my legs were going a little bit going up the hill, but
does the ball roll faster in one direction?
Well, yeah, I never noticed it. Honestly, I know.
Wow.
I do what ends Gallagher and the thing. Yeah, I just got out there and played. I just thought I was slower going one way. So
it's like some sort of anxiety dream for a footballer that you're trying to run down one end of the pitch and you're getting slower and slower and slower. That just always amazed me. And obviously you sort of think of the games and the things that you've seen on this pitch, and you see, I don't know.
Because that was last time you was here, wasn't it? A year ago?
It was a year ago,
yeah.
Alan's Foundation
game,
night, and
4-4
with Luton, yeah.
I mean, James, you have, as a Newcastle fan, I'm in sort of slight awe with some of the player names you've been able to just drop. Let's talk about that, because I mean, I thought we were going to spend a long time talking about music, and we've just jumped in with football, and I love you for that. I think that's brilliant.
We're here to talk about football.
But because one of the things I was going to ask you from a musical perspective is how has fame changed your life and so on. But But who cares about from music? Has it given you access to players?
It kind of has. I have a nice relationship with a number of players. They're football players and musicians. I doubt this is that obvious to sort of the average listener, but I find it kind of fascinating, even to anybody who it might be obvious to. But you go out and perform in front of a crowd. That's what you did every time you played at St James's or anywhere. You do it with the team. I go up with the band, so I kind of do it with the team. But everyone on the pitch is an individual, and I'm up there and sure my name's on the bill, and so I'm that bit more of an individual, I guess, on stage in front of the crowd. But there's a fascinating connection and relatability, I guess. Wayne Rooney has this sort of collection of guitars. He doesn't really play at all. He loves music. And he'll talk to me about that forever, and I'll want to talk to him about football forever. And there are just these sort of touch points that have always made it very sort of effortless to relate and share. Summer 2024, I went to Gareth Southgate had the England squad training in the where was it, Chris? Durham.
In Durham?
Yeah, they did it. They were in Durham for. It's because we had a pre-competition game at St James's.
Right. Yeah.
One at Wembley and one there, so they trained nearer there, so people didn't have to move around so far. And Gareth said, "Will you come and do a set as a sort of bit of a treat type thing one night?" They had like a Nando's truck.
That's nice.
They trained for the day, and I met the England squad. They were lovely. Trippier, Anthony Gordon, loads of great guys. Special love for the Toon lads, of course.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to sort of talk to them all about, well, I did my set. I did 6 or 7 songs. You know, I don't know. I write pretty emotional stuff, and I tried to sort of keep it light for the lads. I'm sort of like, how's this going to go down? I've also got people, I remember James Madison was in the audience, who nobody has messaged me more often than that guy about a cover I did once of Don't Look Back in Anger. I love the guy. He's so lovely, and he just really likes this version of that song that I did. So anyway, there's all these like little sort of connections and things. But I really felt, I will say this, like, you know, however many 22 plus lads in front of me watching me do a few songs, they're watching me like it felt like they knew about what it's like to sort of get up in front of people and try and do your thing to the sort of best of your ability and relax people. And because actually in football, you know, I imagine if you're trying your best and you're trying to get a flow happening and holding on to possession, it will ultimately kind of, everybody wants a win in the crowd. But they want to sort of relax and watch, ideally, an effortless win, don't they? You know, when you run away with a game,
you want to see them thrashing.
Yeah, how much fun is that? And for what's it like as a player whenever you've been a part of a team that's thrashed the opposition? You're sort of smiling through the second half.
Oh
almost.
we were lucky. We were under Keegan. We had quite a few 7-1s against Spurs
Incredible.
and stuff, which were great. It's much easier. So as you say, so much more relaxed when you're winning.
Your relationship with the people who are doing the work with you and with the crowd is. It just gets that bit more special. And so, yeah, I've always had that as a sort of thing between me and the footballers that I've met. And they've, by the way, I feel very privileged to say, a lot of the footballers that I stay in touch with and have met and know, they might have come to me sort of first.
Oh, nice.
I've definitely been like, oh my God, I'm such a fan of yours or whatever, whoever it may be. But they God, I think it was Alan... on Twitter years ago, he said, "I'm a fan of yours." I was like, "I'm a fan of yours," you know, when we were off, sort of thing. And we don't even have to talk in sort of great detail all the time. There's just this sort of relatability between the two kind of industries, careers.
Every pop star or singer I've ever met, they want to be footballers.
Yeah.
All the footballers want to be singers.
Yeah.
Isaac told us last week he wants to be a rapper.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, Alan's got his go-to song that he sings, and he thinks he's a great singer, doesn't he? But he's sort
One
of
evening.
So it's all,
What do you think the musical equivalent of a hat trick is then? Maybe when you've got the crowd eating out of your hand, and when you stop singing, everything stops and the crowd sings it back.
That's a nice question. Like, it is that. I think the hat trick is when you can have that at any point that you want in the show, and then also, and that's down to the popularity of your songs with the crowd, I guess, and then also, for me artistically, because some acts are all about noise and sort of hysteria throughout the show, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong. For me, I do want some of that. I've got loud, noisy bits in the set and in my sort of catalogue of songs, but then I've also got these intimate bits where I would love like this sort of pin drop atmosphere in the room. And the hat trick is when a show has both of those. Oh, nice. Really, and when you know those moments, like when you finish a game, it's either been a hard fought win or you've thrashed somebody, and the crowd are still doing the chants as the whistle's gone, and and I've been in Newcastle crowds at away games, by the way. Actually, even at the end of Anthony Gordon's first season, our last game I went to against Chelsea, and it was 1-1, and he scored his first goal. And I remember Lewis Miley hit the bar, and everyone was like, "Oh my God," because he almost got his first one as well. And we were just great, and we did a great season. We didn't win that one, but you know what the Newcastle away fans are like. They were absolutely giving it.
It was a draw, wasn't it? I think we were winning.
It was a draw. It was 1-1. Yeah. But that crowd still giving it after the thing's finished, for me. Sure, we have it at the end of the first part of the set where they're cheering us back on for the encore. That's great. But the hat trick is the couple of things I mentioned, and then also, you know, when we're done and the sort of house lights come on and they're still going, you know, that's...
Are you ever tempted when that happens? Because obviously I go to a lot of gigs. In fact, I saw you support Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, wow. At Hyde Park, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
But when that happens, when you can hear that they're just desperate for more and the house lights are come back on, and I'm sure there's rules within the venues and things. But have you ever gone, do you know what, let's we don't do this, but let's give them another.
The other night in Edinburgh, we were close. The crowd in Edinburgh are absolutely unbelievable. Like now and again, throughout 10 plus years of doing this, there have been crowds where, so we have these in-ear monitors, which will give us a really nice direct feed of the things that we need to hear the best to sort of play the song the best. And then you'll have something called ambient microphones in the room, which will pick up the sound of the crowd in the room, and they'll give you a little bit more of that in there as and when you want it. And sometimes crowds have been so crazy that you sort of got, you got to sort of turn it down because it goes through the ambience and into your in-ears, and that's ultimately an incredible problem to have.
Yeah,
because they're just going mad.
That's the hat trick.
That's part of the hat trick, no question. It's So yeah, that's definitely the hat trick. But like, yeah, it's lovely this sort of effortless understanding that I can have between footballers, and because also touring there's sort of similarities to the travel in a way. You don't travel quite in the same way, but you do go on the road a bunch, every other week,
especially from here. We used to travel all the time.
There you go, like that.
Everywhere,
if you're getting into international competitions and stuff, like, so there's you can relate in that.
I've always wondered, when you're actually writing a song,
yes,
do you know it's going to be a hit?
No,
and
I think that's important.
Right. Okay.
I think
so. Like,
yeah, no, or any of the ones for me, the main ones for me, Hold Back the River and Let It Go. Like,
you didn't realise when you're writing that was going to be a massive hit.
All I can say is that in hindsight, and I can only say it was a hindsight thing. I'll sort of say, oh, well, it sort of makes sense to me that I particularly kind of loved that one as I was writing it and when it was finished. Like, you don't always get that luxury. You can really enjoy writing something and then stop, record a little demo, step back, come and listen and go, oh, it's okay. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wonder what the sort of...
I just don't know if it's something you went, wow, that's going to be a hit, by the way. Everyone
people
around
me will say that kind of thing, definitely. And really, it's their job to do that. If they're not writing the music, but they're on the team of sort of promoting the music and, helping me sell tickets and get into charts or whatever, it really is their job to go, I think that might be a special one. I think that could be a big song, all that stuff. But I think if I busied myself with trying to manufacture what I think will be a hit, I very much sort of lose sight. I guess in the same way, I know it might be a bit sort of, I don't want it to be too sort of corny that I'm constantly trying to think of football equivalents, but there are just so many sort of moments. I found out recently, I was watching, I think a commentator said that Fabian Schär was, as a kid, he was a striker.
Okay.
I don't know if that's completely accurate. I heard somebody saying
we
this.
all were as kids.
Well, sure, and he can certainly sort of ping it now and again when he wants to, and so he's had a few top bins moments that are quite exciting.
He has.
But it's no wonder. It's no wonder he can sort of, if he had some sort of semi sort of pursued time as a youngster trying to be a striker. Okay, great. He can hit it from outside the box. But the relatable or the sort of similar scenario is that, like, you have to have all these other people looking at what you're doing in your academy years to say, now, you think you're a right winger or whatever, whoever you are. Yeah. We're recognising that you're really good in this moment and that moment, and we think you could be a central defensive midfielder or a centre back or whatever. It's important that the person trying to be the right winger is also just trying to be a great footballer. I'm just trying to be a great songwriter. I'm just trying to write a great one, something that I think is brilliant. If a footballer can sort of have a great training session and a great game, and isn't it important that you came off the pitch and felt like you did a great one? Sure, if somebody said you were falling short there, but you were great in that moment, that's kind of critical feedback that's important. But I it's sort of important that I don't zoom out too far too often. You've got to sort of stay in the weeds of it, and then obviously it's like you train just to start a game, right? Just to get in the team. You got to go into the sort of minutiae ultimately as a songwriter. And so I try to answer your question again to sort of not bother myself with knowing if something's ever going to be successful. I just sort of hope it's a great one. I just hope people love it. And then really the things that people love and go on to love more and share and play on the radio, whatever. Ideally, they become hits, but can't control it.
Was there ever a point, because we talked about two of the biggest hits that you've done, was there ever a point when you considered calling it Hold Back the River Tyne?
I when Rafa was the manager, I was on social media going to doing like, hold on to Rafa, let me look in your eyes. I was like trying to get my own chance away, like with my own music. Like, I was a bit bold. I was literally, yesterday we had a day off in Newcastle. I can't remember where I was. I was in like a shop or something talking to these lads, and they're like, I remember when you were on social media a lot, we always used to like your comments and sort of chime in. I was like going, come on, Joe Willock. He was on like a run of form, like,
7 goals in 7 games.
And then Isak's just beaten that, right?
Yeah. 8-8.
Which has beaten Shearer as well.
That's right.
Don't say it to him.
No, he hates that, People are catching him up now.
What did he say about Haaland signing for 10 years? He was like, oh, God.
Great.
He was delighted when Harry Kane went.
He was so delighted.
When Kane went, so pleased.
Funny. But I didn't. Well, hey, don't rule it out. There's still time.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, you could try it tonight.
Maybe tonight.
2,000 Geordies.
You know what? By the way, when I come and play in Newcastle, obviously it's biased for me towards wanting to say anything about Black and White and Toon Army. There's a couple of Sunderland fans in there. I get it.
Oh no, lean in.
Music's
Lean
the
into
great,
it.
music. Everybody's allowed to listen to music, even Sunderland fans. I know they're in there. The last time I played in Newcastle in 2022, I got. I think I've probably done this before, but I said I've got to have a Newcastle top. It was one of the Greenalls.
Oh,
Okay.
So that might have been before you.
Yeah, no, I was here.
You were in a Greenalls one.
Were we Greeners? No, that might have been. Yeah, that been
Just
before we.
were
Yeah,
Brown
I
Ale.
was
You were
McEwen's
McEwen's,
lager.
weren't
Yeah,
you?
Oh,
McEwen's.
McEwen's, okay.
Yeah.
So that it was a Greenalls one, and I just wanted to go on in the encore in it because I was like, fuck it, I can't help it. I know there'll be Mackems in there, but like, yeah. So I went on in it. It was like over the t-shirt I've been wearing in the show, and after the set was finished, I took my hat off and I pulled this top off and I slung it into the crowd, and a couple of people went mad for it, but of course, a couple of people probably weren't even new. I don't want to touch it, But, this is my opportunity coming up here to do that.
Well,
kind of
you're
thing.
not playing Sunderland. You're playing Newcastle. So
It's very true. With respect.
yeah,
With respect.
yeah, different venues. Do you find when you're playing here, do you give it a little bit extra because you're an adopted Geordie?
100%. I absolutely do. There is absolutely an added excitement to coming up here and playing in front of these guys in Newcastle. Yeah, I'm always very excited to just. I mean, yesterday we got a day off here, and it was nice to be sort of very quiet about it and just go shopping in town a little bit. And I over the years of coming here, there's been countless sort of different spots that have been sort of a bit regular or not, and that I've sort of tried to get back to. And I will say this as well, with all respect to my beloved London, coming up to somewhere like Newcastle, actually Newcastle particularly, it's very friendly.
Yes, it
I
is.
totally agree.
It's
Yeah.
particularly
I second that.
easy to just chat to anybody in a shop. There's lots of lovely, like, independently run and owned businesses, clothes shops, food places. I went to this place, Gingerino's, for pizza yesterday. A guy who I met years ago, actually, Jimmy, who had a pizza slice place next to a small studio, and he's really upscaled. He's doing great, and I had a couple of slices in there. It was wonderful. Shout out. So it is Newcastle that I'm always particularly excited to. I do get like a little bit nervous, really, because I just feel a kind of slight sort of kinship, I guess, like, for all the years that I've sort of come up here and with the Newcastle football connection.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure, and I do feel like that translates on stage in the room with the fans that come to my show, because of course they're fans of me and my music, and they've probably got some sense and idea that I'm a Newcastle fan, and all those connections are there. So
do you get recognised? Obviously,
but
I still get recognised.
No, of course you should absolutely, but like there is. It's.
I'm
But
sure
I will say this as well, and I don't know what your experience is like, but as and when I do, it's very gentle. And and it's very like, oh, he's sort of back in town, he's here. It's really nice.
Yeah, nice people.
Yeah, really nice folks, and no one makes a huge sort of song and dance out of it, even if they're asking for a picture, sort of thing. It's just very chill. Yeah, it's lovely.
Salt of the earth is the term.
100% salt of the earth up here. Yeah,
Love it.
I've got both of these, by the way. I've got that one. It's got just the blue star.
That's it. Yeah,
I love that kit.
Great kit.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that.
One
kit.
of the best kits.
And this little blue bit, big fan.
Yeah.
Of that. And then I've actually got the new one of that. And it's our second
The new one's
time.
very nice, isn't
It's
it?
very. It's our second time. Even during the Ashley years, we had a go at that when Joel Linton
Yeah.
signed. We had
Yeah.
it had a little bit of sort of gold
Didn't
on it. It was okay.
quite work.
This new one's really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
got it
is.
spot on with the
And the
nose.
badge feels very nice on it, doesn't it?
And it's
Little
nice to
rubber
see a bit of
finish.
Adidas back there. That's
Yes,
lovely.
Adidas is great.
Pleased with
Adidas.
that.
I'm pleased with Adidas.
Yeah, it's
The best years.
It's very easy to obsess over that stuff. And actually, did you? Your job's to play, and you go out there and you wear whatever you've got to wear because it's work, isn't it? But what is it like? I've always wanted to ask this to lots of different footballers. What was it like? Because everyone's got their sense of style, and I know it's your work outfit, and you're all wearing the same thing. But like, did you sort of have? Would a new kit come in with you guys, and some lads would be like, "Oh," and other lads would be like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, Kevin Keegan was really good because he used to bring the kits in, and he'd say, "What do you think of these lads?" So he'd sort of like give you.
Is this before they were like ready?
Yeah,
or?
so he'd get a say. Keegan would get a say on the kits. sort of thing.
Again,
So,
like you can share this,
which is right. So he'd ask the lads. So we'd go, well, you don't like that one. That's awful.
Something
You
that's
can't wear
shared.
that.
That's shared in music. If you don't feel the part going on stage, maybe it doesn't make it harder for you guys to do your job. But if you're in sort of that bright orange away kit.
No, we've had some awful ones. To be fair.
There is some
yeah,
mad ones. Did you ever play in the yellow one with the green bits? Was that early 90s? God,
yeah, that we got promoted in that.
But it was like an Umbro thing
like
that they did.
Kit, it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was quite intense, though, wasn't it? I don't know. And some of those amazing, by the way, some of those amazing keeper kits that like Pavel.
Oh, right.
And like
iconic.
Shaka Hislop and all that. Yeah. Unbelievable. I guess Shea Given probably was in some of them.
Yeah, but Shaka
quite liked his like mad green one.
Also, didn't Shaka used to wear one that was about 3 sizes too big?
It's the 90s, wasn't it?
Most of the shirts were a massive bollocks. Even my shirts now, I can get in my shirt still. That's how big they were. Yeah.
I had the original brown ale shirt. I still have it. I know they've got a repro on it now, which is obviously selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, they have it. I have one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that they do cut very large.
They are big. I had that, and I had the one. I always remember. Is it Tamuri Ketsubaya? I always remember him playing in this kit because it had a nice sort of jersey-ish kind of black and white stripe on the sleeve and it was round neck, and everything was sort of in a line.
That's it. Yeah.
It was like the brown ale logo.
Yeah, the collar, the round collar, didn't it?
Yeah. Everything was sort of up like that, and it had a quite amazing sort of crest for the number on the back.
The crest, yeah.
That was a really good. I think it was sort of 99.
It would be
Tyne.
90. I think it was under Kenny because we played against Barcelona.
Yes,
yeah,
wow.
that's right. Yeah, against Barcelona.
Tino Espria still there?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love Tino.
Yeah. Very good.
Love Tino.
Still speak to
This
him.
is such a brilliant football chat. I'm so nervous that we haven't done any music because I know I promised to do music, but you kind of led it.
Music's music.
Rob's got some quick fire questions, which I think we have to ask James because I think they would be fun.
Oh, definitely.
Starting with the phone book one, I think, if you're comfortable.
Well, yeah, because this started sort of, me and Alan used to do like a thing where with my sons and his son, who's got the best phone book, who's the most famous person in your phone, and we'd win hands down.
I love that.
My son plays for Wrexham.
Amazing.
So now he's got Ryan Reynolds and
he's doing all right.
Tatum. So me and Al don't play with him anymore. So the question I always ask: who's the most famous person in your phone book?
I've got a few in there that I'm not gonna lie, I'm very excited about.
Yeah,
Mick Jagger's the big one.
Wow, man! See, that's huge.
That's the one that's
hard to top.
We opened for the Stones a couple of different times, but it was after one was part of sort of a festival type thing, and then the other one was. They played at Twickenham, which is really their sort of hallowed ground, Twickenham. The Stones have played, I think, in that stadium, maybe more than any other, certainly in the UK. And that day, I was invited on stage with them, which was unbelievable because I was taken to his dressing room and we went through the song and all these different stuff. Amazing experience. I'd met Ronnie Wood a bunch before and Keith Richards once before that. And Ronnie had been on stage with me, actually, at one point in 2 or 3 years before this, which was just an unbelievable thing to be able to say. And I hadn't met Charlie before, R.I.P. Charlie, legend. But Mick said, come down. And we worked up a version of their brilliant song, Beast of Burden, and went on stage that night and did it. And, he introduced me to the crowd. And I remember him saying things like, and this is, by the way, this is how we would have run our band practices when we were teenagers. So it was so amazing to hear one of the absolute gods of music telling me that he was going to do it the same as I was sort of doing it when I was a teenager. And the detail is that he said, we'll do the song. And he said, in the last chorus, I said, I'll look out at the crowd and I'll look back at the band. And he said, if it's really going well, I'll give it a bit of that and we'll go around the chorus a couple more times. And I thought, wow, it'll be so cool if it goes well enough that he does that. Did the song, last chorus, and he turned around and he said, let's go again, a couple more. And I was just like, wow, I guess I'm doing okay. And the next morning, I was walking to the dentist. I try and keep him looking all right. And I had a message from an unknown number, and it just said something like, "Thank you so much for coming last night. It was loads of fun. All the best, M." And it really hit me immediately after this unknown number. I was like, "Wow, that's Mick. He's he's a brilliant bloke. He's very nice."
Please tell me he's a voice notes kind of guy.
He's not.
That's a good.
He's not, but I'll get a
voice notes
reply.
from Mick Jagger would have been fun.
I feel very privileged that I get to share a message with him now and again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's my
That's
answer.
amazing. Yeah. And what about when you were growing up? Who was your idol? Who did you have pictures?
Oh wow! I mean, it was for a time. It was more footballers, by the way, than it was musicians.
Was it?
Music came to me about 11 years old. I picked a guitar up, but I was telling you earlier, just to cover it. Like me and my brother would get Match magazine, a great football magazine, and we'd tear everybody out and stick them all over the walls. You were up there.
Yeah, see, as long as I was up there. That's
absolutely.
fine.
You were on the wall before any of the musicians, but God, when I was young, so I picked up a guitar when I was 11 for the first time, and I'd heard Layla by Eric Clapton's band, Derek and the Dominoes, and that sort of sent me into obsession. But I went through years 12, 13, 14 years old where it was like heavier rock stuff like Guns N' Roses and Metallica, all that stuff. I remember having a picture of Slash on my wall for a while, but I would draw my heroes as well. So I was one of those kids. So Clapton, Slash, those kinds of folks were the ones on my wall.
Right. Also, there's another one I'd like to ask the old singers. If you're doing karaoke,
Yes.
What do you do?
It's a good
What's
question.
your
I've done
go-to
karaoke a couple of times. Not
I mean, it
many.
must be murder when he goes up doing karaoke because I
you
won't
follow
want to
that.
follow him.
Yeah.
I one time we were it was quite nice. The first time I ever did karaoke was actually in Japan. It was just felt right. And we had a good night. There was some AC/DC. There was some Spice Girls. There was. I remember we were kicked out. We were on the tables and they said, like, we need you to leave. It was like really late as well. And when this sweet little waiter came in the final time and said, look, I need you to, we just sort of roped him in. Everybody pulled him in and they had Hold Back the River going on the karaoke. And we were on the tables going, my go-to though, I don't know what my go-to is, but I've got a really good friend who, John, who I watched. I've written so much of my music with John and I saw him one time I did karaoke, he did My Way by Frank Sinatra, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park. So at this point, I'm sort of like, I think I need to get a bit of that under my belt.
Yeah.
The whole room brought to tears.
Wow.
It's a big track.
God,
It's a big track.
Maybe it'll be that.
Let's talk about the new music because I'm mindful of how long we've been chatting now. You have new album out, you're touring, new single seems to be doing really well.
Thanks, yeah.
Do you want to talk about the ambitions for the future?
The ambitions for the future are, I have to say, like, I guess, slightly unlike football. You know, if I'm really lucky, I could do this into sort of old age of some sort, and I would love to be able to do that. The ambitions are to keep getting to do it, to getting to go up on stage, getting to tour, getting to sell places out around the world, because I've had 10 years and a bit more of experience of doing that, which I feel unbelievably privileged to say. So yeah, album 4 is out. It was a very exciting thing to make and get to release because I guess, you know, my goal was always to do one album. My goal is now to do 14, but I'll stick with 4. I'd like to do more than 14 as well. I'd like to get to 5. We'll take it one album at a time, you know. And again, with the sort of 10 years under my belt, I was able to call some people and explore more collaborating on this 4th album than I ever have. There's a great band in America called the Lumineers who I've spent a couple of summers opening for in America and touring with, and them and my lovely mate Noah Khan, who's doing such brilliant things recently in music, joined us on a track. I wrote a song on this new album with Brandon Flowers from The Killers, who's a complete legend, and you know, just a legend and a brilliant example for me and for any artist of how to really go at writing a song and invest in the whole sort of process. So I think I think another goal is to check out collaborating more. I put a new song out Friday just gone with a great artist in America called John Batiste, who is a fantastic piano player and singer and songwriter. I think he's better known at this point over there, but he's absolutely like taking over slowly but surely. And it was amazing when we had him. I went to Nashville to work with him. He's from New York, or he lives in New York. And in America, people are bouncing around all over the place. He was a little bit late to the studio, not problematically, but it's because he'd just come from being on stage with Stevie Wonder at Stevie Wonder's concert, so could not complain. So John is a wonderful, wonderful player, and it was wonderful to have him. And he's obviously got the backing of none other than Stevie Wonder. So yeah, collaboration is a thing that I've sort of opened myself up to even more. So I've got a few sort of things in the pipeline. With that in mind, but yeah, I'm really, really like excited to have this album out and to be touring again. We've been around Europe the last couple of weeks. We're going around the UK. We've got America coming up. We're going to do a bit of South Africa at some point because I've never been there before. Eventually we'll get back to Australia. It's always fun to go there.
What a way to see the world.
Sorry to segue once again back to football, but did you do many of these tours where your team would go and do like a pre-season in? How long's that been a thing? Like pre-seasons in?
Well, I remember Sir John Hall making us go in just as we signed Alan. We signed Alan Shearer, and we were just about to get on the plane to go to the Far East for 3 weeks.
Wow.
pre-season to go because Sir John Hall said that got to sell shirts out. So this was in '96.
Wow.
Keegan had to get off the plane to go and sign Alan Shearer, and then when we signed him, he wasn't allowed to travel with us because we couldn't afford the insurance of a £15 million player and the rest of the squad. No. So he had to travel with the directors and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
It was mad. Yeah, it was mad.
What was it like going out to somewhere like that to play football every day? Is it like?
It was hard work because obviously it's the climate is completely.
You got jet lag.
Jet lag, and then you're playing against they're fit as well. And they're halfway through their season. We haven't played at all.
Whoa, they're halfway through their season.
Yeah, and the heat is, you know what I mean, the humidity.
Was it horrible?
Oh yeah, we got beat every time.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was awful. Yeah.
Out of season.
Yeah, and obviously we're trying to get fit. And then we're getting beat most games. It's like it's not looking good. But,
fair.
But
I've always
good trips though.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I wonder about that. And I'm lucky to do that thing Soccer Aid a couple of times, and some of the guys, the ex-pros on there, will have.
Well, you know, the first one stories. They did. The first one I ever did was called The Match.
Right.
Years and years ago when I first started, so that would have been about 18 years ago, and they did it here.
Oh wow!
You would have loved that one.
I would have loved that.
You would have loved that one.
This is the place to be doing
so
that.
Again, they had sort of like they had trials, so it's like a TV show, and they were doing trials,
right?
And they got used to get, you know, and then people would vote to get the celebrities out,
right.
and they played against all the footballers here. I mean, it was a packed house, absolutely packed house.
But it's a lot of fun to do it. They talked. I did the 2020 and the 2021 games, and they did talk in the 2021 game. It was almost going to be at St James's, and then it ended up being at Etihad.
And then you get nervous going on the pitch.
Yes, is it my experience? The second Soccer Aid, particularly because the first one I did was so in the pandemic that there was no crowd.
Right.
But they piped in the sound of a crowd,
right?
Not only to the thing that they put on TV, but to us on the pitch,
which was weird.
Which is weird and also kind of good fun. But the second one particularly, I started the game. It was really annoying as well because I'm not a defender in any way. I'm just a sort of egotistical attacker trying to score. And on the last day of training, they said, and Sven-Goran Eriksson was the manager for our England team, and the lads were like, just sit back on this last day because you're doing great, but like just. And so I sort of sat in defence, and that's the day that he turned up, and he thought this guy's all right, and you know he's got a bit of something about him in defence. So he started me as a right back, which is really frustrating. And I did the first half. I don't know. We lost this game horribly, but did sort of fine in the first half. I think it was 0-0. And then the half times of these Soccer Aid games are 40 minutes long because, understandably, they're promoting the charity on TV and it's all live. And then they said, "We're going to take you off. You've had a great half." I said, "Sure, great." I was knackered. And then they said, "We're going to put you back on for 10 minutes, second half." I said, "Oh, all right. I'll do the first 10 minutes, like a little bonus, really." And then they left me on the whole game. I was exhausted. There's a bit where something's happening in the middle of the pitch, and I'm just in the corner of the screen, and I think either Joe Cole or Jamie Carragher had said, like, I was basically one of three at the back at this point as some sort of wing back on a full size pitch at 90 minutes with absolutely no legs, and they said, "Run!" And if you can just about see me, both my legs just seize up and give up at the same time, and I just go flat on my face as I start to try and run. And I had no idea. I play 5 or 6 aside once a week on a tiny little pitch, thinking I'm all that, like bouncing around the pitch. When you're being asked to sprint up and sprint back and sprint up and sprint back, and Joe Cole's like trying to like get the ball off you. Well, he was on my team, but like, oh my goodness me,
brilliant, different gravy, right?
Desperate, very good, very different.
So you're again this year.
No, I'm not at the moment, but I'll always.
But
I'll always take the call. And
well, you're coming to the Thursday Night Dads thing. We're going to get your knee fixed, and then we're going to do Thursday Night Dads.
Game on St James's, shall we?
Oh, now that would be special.
Try to arrange that. Yeah.
Rob, don't tempt these lads.
We'll
do it.
We will.
We'll have Mr. Shearer, shall we?
Oh, absolutely, man. I'll be atrocious, but I'll love every second.
Bring him out.
And that's the thing. I won't care how well I play. I'll just be delighted to have played.
Absolutely, you will when you're there. You'll be getting stick from the.
I just want to be going downhill, not uphill.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Start
you can tell.
Exactly. Yeah,
Start me on the
I know what I'm doing now.
James, what an absolute joy and a pleasure it's been to hang out with you, to get some time in the car with you as well.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the tour. Good luck with all the new music and everything that's coming. I reckon we'll be checking in with you again soon.
I hope so, yeah.
Come back on in the future, please.
Nice. If this Uber could pick me up from London and bring me up.
Next time I'm just going to go straight and get him. We're not waiting for any Ubers. I'll get him. It's not a problem.
Oh, well, there you go. We've got it on camera now. It's all sorted. Thank you for your company. You've been watching or listening to Adopted Geordies, brought to you by BetMGM. He's been James Bay. I've been Andy Jaye, and he's the captain.
We'll see you soon.